fists together. I am somebody. I may be poor, but I am somebody.
Red and yellow, brown, black, and white. We're all precious in God's sight. Everybody is somebody. Stop the violence. Save the children. Stop bullying. Save the children.
Hold your head high. Stick your chest out. You can make it. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive.
Hi, I'm Dr. Sonia Whitaker, National Education Policy Director for Push for Excellence. And on behalf of the Rainbow Push Coalition, we'd like to thank you so very much for giving of your gift of time and joining us here on our Saturday morning forum. We'd like to thank Word Network for bringing you to us and us to you. And yet, we recognize that there are many of you watching us right now on Facebook Live. If you're doing so, we'd like to ask that you like our page. And for the many of you who prefer to watch us on YouTube Live, we'd like to ask that you subscribe to our page so that you may gain immediate access to all of the content that we have in store for you. And speaking of all that content, we can't do it without you. We need your financial support, and we've made it really easy for you to give. In fact, we're giving you 3 different options. You can simply take your cell phone right now and hold it to the QR code on that screen and give it right on the spot. And if you prefer, you can take that same cell phone and text the word PUSH to 41444. Text PUSH to 41444. And if you prefer, you can simply go to our website at rainbowpush.org and click on the donate button. Now, whatever you do, do not touch that dial. We'll be right back because the push is on.
This is Bishop Tavis Grant, the Acting National Executive Director of the Rainbow Push Coalition. I want to thank you for joining us. This is State of the Movement. You know, this week was an incredible, historic week as Senator Raphael Warnock, after running 4 times, winning 4 times, is now serving a full term in the United States Senate. You know, the work of Jesse Jackson, who has single-handedly registered more than 7 million voters in America, is really a part of this story and the narrative on the meaning and the importance of voting. What is so significant about this particular election is that it weighed heavily on mail-in votes and early votes, which those who are part of succession plans, those who are seditionists, and those who were part of the insurrection really filled the American culture with the falsehood that those would lead to means of disrupting and discounting the quality and integrity of free and fair elections. Furthermore, behind the curtain, the cotton curtain, what was proved by Senator Warnock's incredible win is that the collaboration of African Americans, progressive whites, and Hispanics, and independents coming together in the collaborative in the fashion of the Rainbow Push Coalition and showing America what democracy really looks like. And so we extend a great deal of gratitude to those hard workers who span the state of Georgia, who went door to door, neighborhood to neighborhood, and community to community to turn out the vote and give a resounding rejection to those who wanted to steal and take this election from those who so desperately worked for it. Equally so, we commend the Biden administration for the liberation and the emancipation, working diplomatically in bringing Brittany Griner home. No, she was not a part of a government. She's not a government agent, was not a part of the military. And the wisest thing for the Russian government to do was to let her come home and be reunited with her family. Those who joined Reverend Jackson in appeal and raising voice and cause to her freedom are to be saluted for the reality that in this democracy and along the lines of this globe, we have the opportunity of winning more than we lose. And absolutely, we're doing what we do to keep hope alive. This is State of the Movement.
We have some issues that we want to share with you each and every week. One of the most important issues is protecting your right to vote. This is News Briefs. We want you to know what's happening in the news that may be affecting you. There's a case that was filed in North Carolina. It was taken to the Supreme Court in North Carolina. It was a case about redistricting. I know you're saying, well, what is that? That's how they draw these legislative lines, where your congressional district, your U.S. senatorial districts, your state legislative districts, and even your city and county districts are drawn. So in Moore versus Harper, the people have decided, the Republicans decided they wanted to draw a map that had more opportunity for Republicans to be elected to the state legislature. When the Democrats challenged the map, the Supreme Court of North Carolina said that map is invalid. They struck it down. So they said, fine, we're going to appeal this to the United States Supreme Court on the basis that no state Supreme Court justices have the right or the authority to overrule a decision by the state legislative body to draw a map any way it wants to. Why is that important? Because now we've taken states' rights to a whole nother level. That means that no one has any superior authority over a state legislative body. That's not the way the Constitution of the United States was written. It's not the way state constitutions were written, because they mirror, in many ways, the United States Constitution. That being said, every state, as well as our national government, we are structured so that there are three equal bodies. You have the Supreme Court that handles all of the legal cases. The Supreme Court of every state looks at whether or not the legislation that has been enacted is constitutionally valid. And the Supreme Court has a responsibility and the authority to strike down those matters that violate the state constitution, which is what the Supreme Court in North Carolina did. What the people in Moore versus Harper did was say, no, we appeal this decision to the United States Supreme Court on a strange legislative theory, a new constitutional theory that they are presenting. It's called an independent legislative theory, independent state legislative theory, which says that state legislatures are empowered to make independent decisions all across the country. So that means 50 states would have 50 different opinions about the rights of a state legislature versus the rights of the state Supreme Court. And ultimately, that is not constitutional. That's not grounded in any real legal analysis. It is a theory which continues to support the old slavery position of states' rights agenda after President Lincoln freed the slaves. Why is this important to you and I? Because it begins to erode the very tenets of the Constitution. So we go from January 6th, where they seized our capital, to now every state deciding what they want to do in terms of drawing district lines, what they want to do with regard to voting rights. It becomes a states' rights move in America, which continues to chip away at our constitutional protections. What do we want you to do? Stay tuned to PUSH. Join PUSH, because we're going to fight this. We're going to fight it in the courts. We will be joining with an amicus brief with this case, Moore versus Harper, and there are more to come. And so all of the legal scholars, all of the state Supreme Court justices have agreed this case should be struck down. And so what we want you to do is watch as we watch what the United States Supreme Court. They just heard oral arguments. they will render an opinion on this important case this Supreme Court term. We'll be back. Stay tuned.
We're excited to get more people involved in Rainbow Push, supporting the programs of Push for Excellence and the Citizenship Education Fund. If you're interested in impacting public policies, if you believe in the scholarships that we give to thousands of students each and every year, you can become a policymaker by becoming a member of Rainbow Push right now. For an annual membership of $35, or if you're a student or senior, $15, you can help us make a difference in the lives of millions. How do you become a member? Visit our website at rainbowpush.org and press join. Or maybe you'd like to support us. You can text the word PUSH, that's PUSH, to 41444 on your cell phone, and you can give any amount you feel comfortable giving. You can also call us at 773-256-2775, or go to rainbowpush.org and push donate. Wherever you are, you can support us as we keep pushing for you.
Welcome back. Looking forward to bringing you our update on Spotlight in Education. This week, we want to spotlight STEM education via Push Excel. The first point that I want to make, which we're all familiar with, is that there is an underrepresentation of African American students gaining exposure to STEM education throughout their academic career as they progress from elementary school to high school. And that's where I want to start. I want to start by emphasizing the importance of the key word that I just referred to, and that is exposure. Black students, much like their counterparts, their peers, have the intellectual capability of achieving at extremely high levels in the area of science, technology, engineering, and math. However, the research suggests that it is these group of students, African American students, and students experiencing the impact of poverty, which include white students, that are actually gaining the least amount of exposure. I want to draw this to your attention because at Push Excel, our goal, particularly as it relates to policy, is to raise consciousness about those things that are occurring in our schools that really serve as counterproductive to ensure that all students gain equitable access to a quality education, and in this case, exposure to STEM education. With regards to policy development, one of the things that we'd like for you to do is to go back and look at the types of policies that have been developed, written, and adopted in your school district that move the system toward recognizing, in this instance, the board's expectation that all students gain some level of exposure. Assuming that you have board policy that actually speaks to the need for students to have this level of exposure, the next thing that we want to encourage you to do is to have some conversations with the appropriate administrators in your respective district or organization about the extent to which that policy has actually transferred itself into the form of practice. In other words, assuming that you've developed a policy which suggests that this is an expectation, you want to know as a board member or as a community member that it is actually being implemented and that students are being exposed. As has been stated, our students have the intellectual capabilities to achieve. When we state for an expectation that that happens in terms of exposure, and we move closer to ensuring that it is implemented, in order to ensure implementation fidelity with the standards or the curriculum that has been put in place to ensure that students are successful, of course you're going to want to make sure that you have the resources made available, be it STEM labs. If you're looking to ensure that students gain exposure regardless of whether or not they're in a physical STEM lab, then you're going to want to make sure that your classroom teachers, embedded within those classroom centers, are embedded within all aspects of the space that they use to deliver instruction, that they have the resources that they need in order to make it happen. I would like to recommend that you engage in an audit designed by teachers and administrators with a solid background in STEM education. And the audit would really be designed to help you determine where those resources exist within your respective organization, but also to identify where in the organization. Is it a particular school? Is it a particular grade level? Where resources that support this work are not there. By engaging in that process, you'll be able to have a clear picture, a blueprint essentially, of exactly where you need to go. I'd also like to pause for a moment and reflect on the topic of STEM education and pivot more toward higher education. You see, in order for Black and brown students and students experiencing the impact of poverty to achieve at the college or university level in the areas of science, technology, engineering, and math, they really would have needed a solid foundation at the elementary level, the junior high and the high school level, which I have just described. I want to pause for just a second to let you know what many of you are familiar with, in that even at the college and university level, there is a huge gap between the number of Black and brown students that attend college for the purpose of focusing on STEM education in comparison to the number of white Americans who are attending college, as well as emphasizing a focus and an interest on STEM education. In fact, more specifically, what I'd like to share is research would suggest that current trends in STEM education degree attainment appears unlikely to substantially close the gaps. The gaps meaning the number of Black students majoring in STEM education of some sort versus the number of white students majoring in STEM education of some sort. Again, degree attainment based on research appears substantially unlikely to close those gaps. And I would contend that that actually happens as a result, a direct result rather, of students matriculating from one grade level to the next, pre-K through 12, with limited exposure, or in some far too many cases, exposure that results in them feeling inadequate. Now, what I don't want to do is make a sweeping generalization or to suggest directly or indirectly that no school districts are getting it right. In fact, there are many school districts in our nation that are getting it right. And at Push Excel, this is a great lead into the next event in our critical thinking series. And the next event in our critical thinking series is actually going to be focused on STEM education. And the intent of that series is to, again, raise consciousness around this topic, move those conversations that will be had in that discussion to a level that will compel people to action. And it is during this particular critical thinking series, roundtable think tank discussion, that we will have educators, practitioners from all over the nation share the extent to which they are successfully implementing STEM education in their respective schools and districts nationwide. And so we want you to make a commitment to visit pushexcel.org regularly so that you may gain immediate access to information regarding the topics of discussion that will be covered in our next Critical Thinking Series event, as well as the day and time and registration information. As has been stated, our focus will be on STEM education. And there you have it. Spotlight on education. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back.
Push for Excellence was founded by Reverend Jackson in 1975 1975, Reverend Jackson challenged America to push for excellence, to challenge America to make sure that every child could have a high-quality public education. And every year, we have one fundraiser. It's our Push Excel Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Scholarship Breakfast. It's held on the actual holiday, the Dr. King holiday. And we invite you, wherever you are, if you can join us in person, we will be at the Marriott Marquis Hotel. And we have this breakfast to, one, showcase our young people, what they're learning, what they're doing, and showcase the possibilities of what young people can and will do if they receive the appropriate investments in them. And then we highlight our scholarship program, because we believe that every child should go to school and money should not be an obstacle. And then we showcase our oratorical program, our STEM program, and we want you to help us fund our programs. We have a college-bound program, we have a historic Black college tour, we have all these things for young people and their parents. And so what we need you to do is either join us at the annual scholarship breakfast or you give to us. The tables are $5,000 for corporate sponsors, $1,500 for an individual sponsor. The tickets primarily go to fund scholarships and Push Excel programs.
Push Excel's goal is to inspire students to strive for excellence in education in spite of personal, family, and community challenges that they might experience. How do we do this? By advocating for educational policies that guarantee equal funding for all students without regard to race or economic standing. By engaging parents, students, and teachers in pursuing high-quality education and striving for educational excellence at every level. And by forging partnerships with community-based and public sector stakeholders in education. Now, Push Excel is a national model program with the purpose of connecting principals, parents, popular personalities, and students in a bond, and to support students at every level on the educational ladder. Now, we want you to become a member of the Rainbow Push Coalition and Push Excel. Your annual membership can help us to change policies that impact students, colleges, and universities all around the country. So step up and sign up today. Membership is only $35, and if you're a student or a senior, $15. Just go to our website, rainbowpush.org, and push join to become a member, or push donate to support the Push Excel program. You can also text the word Push Excel, that's PUSHEXCEL, to 41444 on your cell phone, and you can give us any amount that you feel comfortable giving, or call us at 773-256-2775. Wherever you are, you can support us as we keep pushing for you. And remember to keep hope alive.
When you shop, Amazon gives. Visit Amazon Smile and select Push for Excellence as your charitable organization by starting your shopping at smile.amazon.com.
The Operation Bread Basket's goal in the beginning was a loaf of bread on every table. Now, I don't want you to forget that everything we take for granted today, whether directly or indirectly, is a result of a part of the movement of Bread Basket and the people who supported that movement. When we march for bread on everybody's table. When we march for employment, we march for everybody to get a job. Reverend Jackson had people around him that made the organization move. We had no mass media, no ways to get information to the people, like through an internet, so we used WVON radio, church bulletins, community newsletters, rallies, speakers, and of course, word of mouth. On Saturday morning, picket captains would see that all their people had picket signs and those who needed a ride. On an average, we would send out at least 10 people to every store to start the picketing process. The places where we would meet on the Saturday morning were the Parkway Ballroom at 44th and King Drive, Tabernacle Missionary Baptist Church on 41st and Indiana, Mount Pisgah Church on 46th and King Drive, Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church on 48th in Dorchester, the Capitol Theater on 79th in Halsted, the Metropolitan Theater on 46th and King Drive, and now at the Dr. King's Workshop, where we currently meet at 930 East 50th Street. The Bread Basket office was located at 366 East 47th Street on the second floor. It was shared space with the CCCO, which means Coordinating Council of Community Organizations, that was headed by Al Raby and James Bevel. We got around, we moved around, we were constantly in movement. We had actions, we had a plan. We came together on Saturday to get our assignments, and we were happy to work. These are the people that we want to pay honor to today by just saying thank you for all of the days that you marched, that you prayed, that you worked with us. We got where we are today because of what they did then. The push is still on.
Reverend Henry Hardy and I got started bread basket together. We went to church one Sunday morning at Inglewood, kind of cold church. And I heard Reverend Evans singing on the radio, "I Must Tell Jesus." Where is this man at? We went and drove, turned the corner in the middle of the highway. Fellowship, we never stopped coming. Clay Evans has been a bulwark. Give your hand for Reverend Clay Evans. All right. We have a great pastor, Reverend Shaw, young man in the old man's body, old man in the young man's body. Really think, preach, good preacher, is he? Let me say this, I want to thank you who come today. Some of me is live again. We meet every Saturday morning. We know where to go. How do we get more registered voters in Indiana, Illinois? Because the more we vote and build coalition, we win. We make change through legislation, education, demonstration. Education, legislation, demonstration. We got none by cursing, none by threatening, none by throwing rocks and bricks. We build America by taking the power. We have the power. We have the power. We have the power. The power. We have the power. Reverend Hardy, as we walked to the University of Chicago campus together, you were senior, I was a sub-freshman. Hardy was 7 years older than me, by the way. So I want to express my thanks to Hardy. When we began to mobilize the ministers, what opposition did we face? Opposition?
We were very close and played basketball. I would go by the house, and Jackie would cook, and I would eat. And we shared together, and we hung out together. And Jesse had a Corvair, not a Corvette, a Corvair. There is a distinction between a Corvette and a Corvair. And so we were riding around in the Corvair, and I heard Pastor Evans, and we got there, and Dr. Wade, and the rest was history. But the thing about Reverend Jackson that is so significant, he is what you call a man's man. He was a great athlete and all of that. The basketball player, football player, always thought he was at a higher level perhaps than he was, but he was great. But the thing that Reverend Jackson had, Dr. King apparently saw that in him, he had a mind that was prescient. He could feel and he could operate in a context of being able to take complex issues and then deal with them and break them down. And so it's interesting that we would talk about Operation Breadbasket, through Leon Sullivan, that sort of thing, because bread is a very powerful symbol, Dr. Wade, in the Bible, Feed my people. Peter, do you love me? Feed my people. And we're not just talking about bread physically, although we talk about unleavened bread, leavened bread, and that sort of thing. But feed them hope and aspiration and direction, and feed them a sense of dignity. And so when Jesse Jackson came along, he's a powerful, athletic, masculine kind of individual, and at the same time he had the capacity to take complex issues and then make them viable and he could feed people with that. And so when we talk about the whole business of covenants, it's very interesting we use the word covenant and not just a contract, Reverend Jackson, because a contract has a certain kind of material, a kind of construct. But when we talk about covenant, there is a spiritual dimension. The Bible does not talk about the 5 Noah contracts. It doesn't talk about Abraham made a contract. He made a covenant with God, a covenantal relationship. And whenever you break covenant with somebody, you're breaking a spiritual and a very sacred kind of relationship. And so when Reverend Jackson went around and when he talked to people, said, we're going to establish a covenant. But a covenant demands that you keep it. It is not a covenant between one person, but 2 persons. So when we set in agreements, and we say, as he said, your education and negotiation, if you don't do that, then we got demonstration. We're going to deal with that reality because you must respect one another. And so Jesse Jackson then became this powerful, charismatic, and systematic figure because of his capacity to translate and deal, Brother Wade, with issues. And so when we talk about a covenantal relationship, we're talking about how we trust each other. See, one of the things I think that we see now in the corporate culture today and all of the dynamics that are going on, there is no regard for the human spirit. We're about making money, but there is no meaning. We want to talk about making some gold, G-O-L-D, but no goals of how we interact and relate to our brothers and sisters. Yeah. And so Reverend Jackson is for us this kind of leader who was able to take the word, make it flesh, bring it from the sanctuary into the community in such a way that we catch life from that. And when he talks about I am somebody, and respect me and never neglect me. And that's sort of what he's saying is a covenantal relationship demands that you don't dishonor the dignity and the integrity of the person in pursuit of the dollar. Dollars are fine, but dignity is better. Yeah. And Reverend Jackson always understood that.
We're excited to get more people involved in Rainbow Push, supporting the programs of Push for Excellence and the Citizenship Education Fund. If you're interested in impacting public policies, if you believe in the scholarships that we give to thousands of students each and every year, you can become a policymaker by becoming a member of Rainbow Push right now. For an annual membership of $35, or if you're a student or senior, $15, you can help us make a difference in the lives of millions. How do you become a member? Visit our website at rainbowpush.org and press join. Or maybe you'd like to support us. You can text the word PUSH, that's P-U-S-H, to 41444 on your cell phone, and you can give any amount you feel comfortable giving. You can also call us at 773-256-2775, or go to rainbowpush.org and push donate. Wherever you are, you can support us as we keep pushing for you.
Hey, welcome back. I know you're enjoying this Saturday morning forum, and I want to make sure at the bottom of the screen, www.rainbowpush.org, that you join us. You know, we're launching something incredible, and I want you to be a part of it. And I want to thank those of you who have been contributing, giving, and those who particularly are members. I mean, from Brooklyn, New York, Los Angeles, California, Atlanta, Georgia, Dallas, Texas. I personally go over the reports every week, and I want to thank those of you who have responded to the call. You know, we're feeding hundreds of people this month during our food justice program, and of course it's our anniversary month, and we're launching something only exclusive here on the Word Network. You can see I have on a different pin than I've had on weeks past. It is our commemorative 56th year anniversary. Now we're getting started early. I know I've talked to you about the 55th year, that's this year, but we're starting early because we really got some special stuff planned from Reverend Jesse Jackson. We want you to be a part of it. I want you, listen, I'm offering this pen to you right now. I want you right now for a contribution. I want you to do 56. I don't want you to do 55. I want you to go $1 higher, 56, and get this commemorative pen. I'm offering it to you. It's got a little bling on it. It's got a little flash and shine to it because we're really coming out of 22 into 23 in a bigger, better, and more bold way. We can't do it without you. And so you go to www.rainbowpush.org or you can text PUSH, P-U-S-H, to 41444 and join right now. Listen, I'm asking for 56. Maybe you can do 26. Maybe you can do 106. But I want you to do it because it helps us help others. So many times we've traveled across the country and people say, if I was in Chicago, if I was in the region, I could do this, that, and the other. Guess what? Your contribution speaks louder. Your investment speaks louder. And you helping us from where you are. You can swipe. You see at the bottom of the screen the various ways that you can give. And guess what? You can be one of the first people to wear this brand new pen that we'll be wearing for quite a while. And listen, you only get it here on the Word Network. And so listen, follow all the prompts. I want to see your name on the report. And thank you for helping us keep hope alive. Now, I want you to stay tuned for an incredible evening we had right here in Chicago. The National Academy of Television and Science and Performing Arts gave Reverend Jesse Jackson a Legacy Emmy. I'm telling you, you're going to be impressed, you're going to be excited, and you're going to be glad that this happened to Reverend Jesse Louis Jackson. Let's take a look now.
Please welcome back the NATA Chicago Midwest Chapter Board's President, John Owens.
Good evening. So tonight, the Chicago Midwest Chapter is presenting a special honor to an iconic figure on the world stage. That honor comes from our Board of Governors, which has voted to present the Reverend Jesse Jackson with a special citation, recognizing his lifetime achievements.
I'm Reverend Jesse Jackson. I was born in Greenville, South Carolina, in the throes of legal segregation of apartheid. But against those odds, with the help of God and loving parents and inspiring teachers, I was able to break that cycle and make a contribution.
Reverend Jesse Jackson has been a landmark figure based in Chicago for 7 decades.
Have you been having any success with your campaign to get people to stop buying Pepsi?
Indeed, we have. The national stores have taken it from their counters.
He first came to the city in 1966 to launch the Chicago branch of Operation Breadbasket, a program started by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to improve the economic status of African Americans. And since that time, Reverend Jackson has become an international icon, known as a political activist, minister, politician, and media personality. His career as a public figure is marked with many accomplishments.
Just what is Operation Push?
Well, Operation Push is a civil economics organization.
Here in Chicago, he founded the Rainbow Push organization in 1971 and led a massive voter registration drive in the early 1980s, which was a key factor in the election of Chicago's first black mayor, Harold Washington.
America's future, the Reverend Jesse Louis Jackson.
His campaigns for the Democratic presidential nomination in 1984 and 1988 were historic. He finished third among candidates in 84 and second in 88, the most successful presidential campaign up to that point for a person of color. And he also became known as an international ambassador, negotiating the release of U.S. soldiers and civilians around the world. Reverend Jackson's career as a media personality is almost as significant. He's been a constant presence on TV and radio in Chicago, nationally and internationally, for over 55 years. He hosted a celebrated news talk show on CNN, Both Sides with Jesse Jackson, for almost a decade. His Saturday morning forums at Operation Push have been broadcast on a variety of platforms, including radio, broadcast TV, and online for over 50 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Reverend Jesse Jackson.
He even hosted an episode of Saturday Night Live in 1984, the first year he ran for president.
Let's get on with the show.
Jesse Jackson's legacy is indisputable, and so the NATA Chicago Midwest chapter is proud to present Reverend Jesse Jackson with our Board of Governors Citation Award.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Reverend Jackson, if you'd like to say a few words, and then we have a surprise for you.
Let me thank you very much for this award. I'm really overwhelmed by it. I've asked what was it about, and I didn't really know about it. I'm sitting here tonight because I've contracted Parkinson's, and that was so devastating, as was COVID, and so it hit my vertebrae and the like. So I'm walking again and talking again. We could not. We could not talk for a word really for five weeks. No walk a step. Now we're doing both again because of such good work at the hospital, Northwestern Hospital, and those who work diligently in all aspects of life. I want to thank God for allowing me to be a long-distance runner in the struggle to make America better and never bitter. I want to thank God for. I was jailed July 18, 1960, 1960, trying to use a public library in Greenville, South Carolina. Then Greensboro in 1963, trying to open up public facilities there. Then I met my wife at A&T. This December 31st, we were married 60 years. Anybody want to tell you how to do it? 60 years, one wife, what a life. Let me say this to you also, that in the struggle, we seek to define it every day in some different way. Human rights is for all of us. Human rights is a struggle that's not isolated to one ethnic group anymore, but the moral obligation is to fight to make America better. One of my concerns today is that there's too much violence in the country. Our military is prepared to stop the external violence, but violence within seeks our destruction. When I think about the president attempting to overthrow a government and still buying time, whether he will go to jail or not, if he does not go to jail, you just turn all of them into museums. You just can't do that and get away with it, it seems to me. That's the principal position that we have and we share. Also, the violence in the country is too great. We're killing each other in ways that is out. This is the Ukraine numbers. The violence has come from the top down. When you have senators running and governors running for office with guns in Iraq as a sign that they'll be a good leader, something very sick about that. When you have the government attempt to overthrow by the President of the United States at that time, if you will, Mr. Trump. So I say this to you, my friends, tonight, that we have an obligation to do something beautiful now. This is our moment in history. What shall our legacy be to the people who come after us? I urge you, stand for justice and let's stand together. The beautiful part is that as different as it has been, we've never been this good before. But make America good again, this is the best America's ever been. More black, white, brown participation than ever before, more women than ever before. So we're really growing, and you contrast throughout tonight with where we've come from, a much better nation. I want to thank God for my children who are here tonight, Jackie Jackson, the second, with a PhD at Michigan State, and Jonathan, the congressman. Santitas somewhere here tonight. You can see her in just a moment. But do let me say to you, in the end, it's about, do we have the faith and the courage to face these times? This courage to face these times. You may have the facts, but you must have the courage to make it happen. I want to thank God for enabling me to be a long-distance runner, and I look forward to talking with you in the days to come, particularly on Tuesday morning after Reverend Warnock puts Mr. in his place. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Reverend Jackson. We have a surprise for you. Your daughter, Santita Jackson, is on stage. She's going to sing a tribute to you, accompanied by Darius Brooks, Grammy Award-winning pianist.
I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadow. If I fail, if I succeed, at least I've lived as I believe. No matter what they take from me, they can't take away my dignity, because the greatest love of all was happening to me. I found the greatest love of all inside of me. The greatest love of all is easy to achieve. Learning to love yourself, well, that's the greatest love of all. And if by chance that special place that you always dream, yeah, if it leads you to a lonely place, find your strength in
Today we take time to remember our supporters and notables who have passed since our last reunion, Saturday, December 23rd, 2022. We remember Vera Arnwine, Madeline Albright, Mother Isabel Brazier, Dr. Waddell Brooks Sr., Johnny Brown, William Bill Brown, Alan Renald Bruce Jr., Reginald Sonny Burke, Maddie Butler, Stephen Lauren Camps, Gregory L. Clemens, Mama Zadella Curtis, Emma Greer Daniels, Mary D., Queen Elizabeth, Mother Christine Font, Mother Desiree Gardner Sankey, Lafayette Gatlin Sr., Laura A. Goyden, Johnny Greer, Lonnie Guinier Esquire, Lucia Harris, Cheryl Hickman, Jim Hill, Horace M. Howard Jr., Evelyn Jackson Hurst, Prince Asiel Ben Israel, Alice Christine Johnson, Johnny A. Jones Sr., Sam Jones, Max Julian, Ramsey Lewis, Harold Lucas, Arthurine Lucy, Leonard Maddox, Michael V. Magnus Sr., Mercedes Millette, Robert McCracken, Janet McFarland, Maxine McNair, Veronica McSween, Dolores Mebane, Mother Clara Medley, Sidney Miller, Elder Cal Morrell, Reverend Joseph Napier, Ruthie Nelson, Nichelle Nichols, Noreen L. Nix, First Lady Louise Patterson, Leroy Phillips, Sidney Poitier, Renee Poussant, Arthur Reed, Nathaniel Robinson, Bill Russell, Harold Lee Rush, Bernard Shaw, Mary Sherrod, Purvis Spann, Mary Springfield, Andre Leon Talley, Mother Imogene Thomas, Kevin Turner, Archbishop Desmond Tutu, Salome Matthews Wallace, Mother Tommy D. Washington, Reverend Frank Watkins, Mother Arvella Watts, Betty White, William Bill Williams, Frank Zuccarelli. This has been another year of extreme loss for our staff and volunteers of the Rainbow Push Coalition. Please accept any omissions as omissions of the mind and not of the heart. Thank you.
Push Excel's goal is to inspire students to strive for excellence in education in spite of personal, family, and community challenges that they might experience. How do we do this? By advocating for educational policies that guarantee equal funding for all students without regard to race or economic standing. By engaging parents, students, and teachers in pursuing high-quality education and striving for educational excellence at every level. And by forging partnerships with community-based and public sector stakeholders in education. Now, Push Excel is a national model program with the purpose of connecting principals, parents, popular personalities, and students in a bond and to support students at every level on the educational ladder. Now, we want you to become a member of the Rainbow Push Coalition and Push Excel. Your annual membership can help us to change policies that impact students, colleges, and universities all around the country. So step up and sign up today. Membership is only $35, and if you're a student or a senior, $15. Just go to our website, rainbowpush.org, and push join to become a member or push donate to support the Push Excel program. You can also text the word Push Excel, that's PUSHEXCEL, to 41444 on your cell phone, and you can give us any amount that you feel comfortable giving or call us at 773-256-2775. Wherever you are, you can support us as we keep pushing for you. And remember to keep hope alive.
When you shop, Amazon gives. Visit Amazon Smile and select Push for Excellence as your charitable organization by starting your shopping at smile.amazon.com.
We're excited to get more people involved in Rainbow Push, supporting the programs of Push for Excellence and the Citizenship Education Fund. If you're interested in impacting public policies, if you believe in the scholarships that we give to thousands of students each and every year, you can become a policymaker by becoming a member of Rainbow Push right now. For an annual membership of $35, or if you're a student or senior, $15, you can help us make a difference in the lives of millions. How do you become a member? Visit our website at rainbowpush.org and press join. Or maybe you'd like to support us. You can text the word PUSH, that's PUSH, to 41444 on your cell phone, and you can give any amount you feel comfortable giving. You can also call us at 773-256-2775, or go to rainbowpush.org and push donate. Wherever you are, you can support us as we keep pushing for you.
Be sure to join us on our Saturday morning forum on next Saturday. We will continue to bring great content to you. And be sure to like our Facebook page and share when you're watching live. And if you're watching us on YouTube, because that's what you prefer to do, be sure to subscribe to our page so you can continue to get up-to-date information about what is occurring in our organization. We need you. We don't just need your financial support, but we need your hands. We need your participation. So we're asking that you seriously consider joining Rainbow Push, and you can do so by going to our website at rainbowpush.org. Keep hope alive.